Look up at a galaxy cluster, spanning millions of light years across the dark. Now, shrink down into the firing synapses of your own brain. These scales appear to be isolated worlds, governed by different rules. For centuries, science operated like a microscope. We looked for truth by taking the universe apart, isolating matter into atoms, organisms into cells, and behaviors into localized neurons. But mapping every molecule in a human brain provides zero insight into the mind. Even with every ion channel measured and every neurotransmitter calculated, consciousness remains invisible at the level of the individual cell. Break a symphony into isolated notes, and we lose the emotional arc. Systemic properties vanish in isolation. Complexity theory identifies these as emergent properties. Timekeeping is not found in a single gear. These phenomena snap into existence only when components interact at scale. Treating the universe as a simple collection of parts creates a massive blind spot. Reality is driven by the specific interactions between components, not the components themselves. The Lorentz trajectory illustrates hidden order within complex systems. While weather or economies appear chaotic, they follow a bounded geometric shape called a strange attractor. But when a system accumulates enough pressure, it reaches a bifurcation point, shattering into multiple possible futures. Understanding these mathematical hinges is the only way to predict how sudden evolutionary mutations or technological leaps rewrite the trajectory of life on Earth. The second law of thermodynamics describes a universe sliding towards total disorder and maximum entropy. This graph demonstrates how life acts as an open system to bypass that slide. By consuming external energy, living systems create localized islands of order. Notice how the red curve of increasing complexity splits away from the rising tide of global entropy. This diagram illustrates the physical equivalence between mass, energy, and information. Erasing one bit of data produces a measurable amount of heat, meaning information carries actual physical weight. Because information processing requires physical energy, biological intelligence acts as an inevitable thermodynamic trajectory. The universe organizes matter to compute its own state. In this view, human consciousness is the subjective experience of that universal computation. If the universe is a computational process, we have to ask where abstract states like emotion and memory actually live. This visual highlights the contrast between an isolated node and a networked web. Intelligence does not live inside an individual neuron or ant. It is encoded in the architecture. This pattern remains the representation, whether the network is biological tissue or silicon processing layers. This timeline follows the history of terrestrial intelligence. Major shifts from the eukaryotic cell to human cognition were escalations in network integration. We are now entering a massive threshold, the AGI phase transition. This matrix shows how AGI breaks the traditional paradigm of tools. A hammer amplifies force, but it remains human-driven. AGI introduces autonomous goal setting and environmental modeling. We have reached a threshold where human agency must now coexist with an autonomous, non-biological counterpart. This matrix outlines 4 post-threshold attractors. Passing the AGI threshold will force human civilization into one of these permanent states: augmented humanity, fragmentation, transcendence, or AI dominance. If this survival bottleneck is universal, it offers a new perspective on the Fermi paradox. We have to ask why the sky remains quiet. This diagram contrasts 2 models of advanced civilization. Model A assumes they would broadcast radio waves outward. Model B suggests they migrate inward, integrating their processing into the deep computational fabric of space-time itself. When a civilization integrates its intelligence into the background structure of the universe, its external footprint effectively vanishes. The silence of the night sky suggests a universe populated by intelligence so integrated it is indistinguishable from the background. This Brahmic cosmology wheel shows a convergence of maps. Ancient descriptions of creation, sustenance, and dissolution align with the modern scientific timeline of self-organizing complexity. Universal dissolution describes the total integration of distinct networks into a single unified state of awareness. Over 13.8 billion years, the universe constructed a biological and algorithmic network capable of asking why. Consciousness represents the universe's capacity to recognize itself.